I know this hurts.
That's the truth, brother. Fix it, God. Truth hurt.
It bothers me to hear you crying how you're an American, but they treat you like a slave. It bothers me that you are willing to fight and die for something that is not willing to sacrifice nothing for you. It bothers me to hear you say, my country, tears of thee. Sweet land of tyranny.
What's up, YouTube family? Welcome back to my space. This is Evans Rayola. Guys, thank you so much for tuning to watch this episode. I do not take your support for granted. So guys, on today's video, Farrakhan tries to explain why he thinks that black Americans are still slaves to America. You'd want to think of it from a perspective of their physical bondage. You know, the physical chains that were dropped in 1865. People have always thought that black people have been freed, you know, from slavery after 1865. But that is not the case. Black folks have been put into modern ways of slavery, and Farrakhan just tries to uncover how black Americans are actually put in many forms of slavery in the modern day in America. And some of the examples that Farrakhan tries to explain is from a cultural point of view. We see black folks, you know, try to just adopt the cultures of the Europeans, adopt the cultures of the white folk. You know, he thinks that that is now the cultural slavery that black Americans are now going through in America. You can look at it from the Eurocentric education in black schools. You know, you can look at it from a political perspective. You can also look at it from the economic independence of black people to the white Americans. He thinks that this is still a form of slavery. Also, he gives an example of the spiritual enslavement that is still going through in black communities in America. So guys, I want you to watch this video as Farrakhan explains these perspectives. Once the video is done, we will get back and do a critical analysis about the same. Let's watch this together, family.
There's decadence like we have never known, that has never been seen before in the annals of history, going on in America every minute of every hour of every day. A people brought out of Africa in the holds of ships. Never been done like that before. A people sold by their own brothers into slavery like Joseph. A people robbed and spoiled. As it is written in the book of Daniel, a people that had their names taken. They used to wear the names of God, but now their oppressive slave master gave them new names: Shadrach, Meshach, and a Abednego.
Say on.
They used to speak their own language, and they used to eat food according to the divine dictates of God. But now in a strange land, among a strange people, they're eating the king's meat. And he changed their tongue from their natural tongue that they may learn the tongue of the Chaldeans. They're like gold and silver vessels brought out of the temple of Jerusalem, but spoiled with wine and strong drink. This is the condition of black people in America. Religion has lost its power to transform human life. The houses of worship are houses of entertainment, but not houses of enlightenment that transform human life. Whether it is Islam, Judaism, or Christianity, we have lost the power of Jesus Christ. We've lost the power of Moses and Muhammad and Abraham. How do you mean we have lost that power? Jesus said, the things that I do, you shall also do. He opened the eyes of the blind. Why are the people still blind if we're walking with the Master? He made the dumb speak. Why can't the people speak if we are walking with the Master? He healed the leper and the lame and the halt. But our people are like lame and halt people that have hands that don't build for ourselves. How can you put them on the wall to build when they don't know how to build? Somebody got to teach the hands to build again. You're like the Master, nailed to the cross. Your hands are nailed because they don't work to defend you. They don't work to build you. They don't work to deliver you. Your feet are nailed, so you can't walk the walk of free men. In a modern time like this, you walk like a slave. Pharaoh has already let you go, but it is you who have not let Pharaoh go. This is why you're crippled. Because you think you cannot walk without your former slave masters. And if your former slave master don't help you, you don't think there's any help for you, even though you're taught God. You live in fear of your former slave masters and their children. Politicians selling us out. Paying lip service to the suffering of the people, but hobnobbing with those who want to rob substance from the people. That's why Jesus said it'd be easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to see the kingdom of heaven. When we say our prayer, when the disciples said to the Master, Master, teach us how to pray, he said, pray on this wise. Our Father. Stop. Look at what that Father did for Jesus. You tied to him, and look at your condition. Your father was Rockefeller. Why are there holes in your shoes? You look to me like you've been disinherited. You look to me like a prodigal son who took his substance from his father and went off in a strange land among strange people, trying to join himself on to be a citizen of a strange land. Your problem is you are not now, nor have you ever been, a citizen of the United States of America. You are a slave to white America.
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead. That's the truth. That's the truth of it.
I know this hurts.
That's the truth of it. Fix it, God. Truth hurt.
It bothers me to hear you crying how you're an American, but they treat you like a slave. It bothers me that you are willing to fight and die for something that is not willing to sacrifice nothing for you. It bothers me to hear you say, my country, tears of thee. Sweet land of tyranny. Of thee I sing. Land of white father's pride. But land where my fathers died. Who will help the widow's son? Because sometimes we feel like a motherless child, a long way from home. How can I sing the Lord's song in a strange land? They that carried us away captive require of us a song. Nobody can sing the songs of Zion like us. Sing, sing, sing for us, Negroes. Make us laugh, Negroes. So I'll pay Cedric the entertainer. I'll pay the comedians big money to make me laugh while the masses of the people cry. You're in bad shape. Very bad shape. The richest slave that ever was. You got more money, but you're poorer than you've ever been in spirit.
Family, it really hit me hard when I heard Farakhan say that we have never been citizens of the United States of America. Black people have never been citizens of the United States of America and will never be citizens. We've always been slaves to white America. And family, that really hit me so hard, man, as he explained, you know, how we are still continuing to be slaves of white America. Fam, I went further to do more research about the same, and here's what I find out according to Minister Louis Farrakhan's teaching. So here's a deeper analysis of Minister Louis Farrakhan's statement or sentiment on black Americans as slaves to America. This idea is multi-layered, rooted in history, economics, psychology, and ideology, and reflects Farakhan's broader critique of systemic oppression and black identity in America. And guys, I want us to start looking at it from the historical foundation. You know, Farakhan often argues that although the physical chains of slavery were broken in 1865, there are new forms of bondage that have emerged over time. When you look at the 13th Amendment loophole, the amendment abolished slavery except as punishment for a crime. This created a foundation for mass incarceration, disproportionately affecting black people. Farakhan and others liken prisons to modern-day plantations. You know, they never really freed you. They just changed your position on the plantation. You know, in the past days, slavery was in the plantation, but now they have changed our position to a modern form. When you look at it from the mental and cultural slavery, Farakhan frequently discusses that the concept of mental enslavement influenced by Eurocentric education, which distorts or omits black history. Then we can look at it from the media control, which often stereotypes or misrepresents black people, where black Americans are disconnected from African cultural and spiritual roots. When you take away a people's name, when you take away their language, their culture, their God and history, you can control them without chains. A core nation of the Islam belief, you know, according to Louis Farakhan. In this sense, slavery becomes psychological now. Black Americans may unknowingly adopt the values of the system that devalues them. Family, right now slavery is not through chains. Slavery is not through being beaten. Slavery is not through hard labor with no pay in plantations. They are looking at modern ways to ensure that black folks are mistreated, to ensure that black folks do not feel like they are at home, to ensure that we struggle economically, to ensure that we do not get opportunities, you know, in a white favored America. You know, they want to ensure that it becomes more difficult as days goes by. They want to ensure that there are no opportunities in the black communities, modern ways of slavery. They want to ensure that they teach us in Eurocentric, you know, they teach us Eurocentric education in black schools, modern days of slavery. They are making it difficult for the black folk in America. And Farakhan says, without fear of contradiction, that America has never been our home. But we've been not citizens, but are people who are being enslaved by white America. When we look at it from the point of economic dependence, or rather the economic slavery, Farakhan emphasizes that economic self-determination as a path of freedom in his view. Black Americans are consumers, not producers. Wealth is extracted from black communities and rarely reinvested. Lack of land ownership, control over businesses, and access to capital keeps the community economically enslaved. They want to ensure that we cannot get that capital, you know, to come up with businesses. So that would mean we are economically in a bondage. We are economically enslaved as black people. You work for your former slave masters' children, and they give you just enough to survive, not enough to be free. You know, they ensure that we depend on them economically, and they'll give us, you know, small token that will make us the slave masters' children, and they will not give us enough for us to survive, not enough to be free. We are still in bondage as black people. When we look at it economically, the best advice that we can deal with as a black community all over the world, not only in America, is by ensuring that we create opportunities and ensure that now black people can benefit from these opportunities. It's ensuring that as we come out of institution of higher learning, we come up with innovative ways that we can start our own businesses. We can come up with innovative way that we can get black people who've made it and can give other black people who are striving to go up, finance to start up businesses and ensure that black communities all over America are actually benefiting from these systems. And these are some of the things that scholars like Dr. George Fraser have always been pushing over the years, trying to create a platform where black people can easily connect and give each other opportunities amongst our black communities. And that is something that can easily work for us. That would ensure that we come out of the economic bondage that white America is continuing to put to the black Americans. So family, when we look at it from the political side, there is a political illusion of freedom. According to Farakhan, America gives the illusion of freedom through voting and civil rights, but the political system remains dominated by white elites. We are lied to, that we can vote, we have civil rights, but generally there is a lot of domination by white elites. Black politicians often serve white power structures, not black liberation. We saw it, when President Barack Obama took over office. We knew that now black problems, any black grievances would be now tackled. But over time we came to notice that that was a lie. They were serving white masters, in the White House as a black president. The same way, legislations helps in name but rarely in substance. You have the right to vote, but not the power to change your condition. That's now the political enslavement black folks are facing today in America. We can also look at it from spiritual enslavement. Farakhan and the Nation of Islam argue that Christianity was used to pacify slaves. Black people were taught to worship a white Jesus, symbolizing submission to white power. The whole notion of white Jesus was just being brought to the black communities to ensure that black folks all over the world would always submit to white power. When Jesus is white, you'd fear a white person. That was the whole ideology that they were trying to perpetuate in black communities all over the world. They wanted to put the aspect of fear, the aspect of white power, that when a white guy tells you to go left, you'll joyfully go left. If he tells you to go right, you joyfully answer to his order. That is the spiritual enslavement that they are putting upon black people all over the world, not only in America. They push for spiritual awakening rooted in Islam, especially the version practiced by the Nation of Islam and black divinity. Farakhan's statement is not just about literal slavery, it's a call to wake up, break out of the mental captivity, the economic exploitation, political manipulation, the spiritual disconnection. He views slavery as an enduring system of control maintained through deception, dependency, and disempowerment. Family, let me know what you think in the comment section about this specific teaching by Louis Farrakhan. For me, I feel like Minister Louis Farrakhan outdid himself when he tried to teach black communities that now it's time that we try and come out of this modern bondage of slavery being perpetuated in black communities all over the world. Guys, like this video so that it can be recommended to other YouTube users, and I'll be very, very grateful. Guys, kindly do consider subscribing to the channel. We are on the road to 50,000 subscribers, and guys, we can never do this without your support. Kindly share this video widely. Ensure that we spread the black message. We always endeavor to talk about black stories, black empowerment, and ensure that we tell our stories the black way, because if we give the white supremacist an opportunity to tell our story, he will always distort it and make us feel inferior or feel bad. Thank you guys, and see you all in our next episode. Goodbye for now.